Welcome back, guys. Before we continue on with the Taranis series playlist, we need to bind our receivers. This time I will be covering the D4R-II. Now this is a special little guy. It actually has two different ways of sending its signal. One way is through PWM, meaning that you will have a wire on each and every one of these channels for a total of 4 channels, plus at least 1 power and 1 ground, which leaves you a minimum of 6 wires. Now your other option, and this is actually what I recommend, is using PPM instead of PWM. To put this in the PPM mode, whenever you purchase this, it should have come with a little jumper like this. You want to put this jumper on the signal channel or signal pins for channels 3 and 4. So just slide it on just like that, and there you go. It's now set up for PPM. It's that easy. What this means is instead of using a signal wire for each and every channel, we now will get 8 channels, so twice as many, and only need a total of 3 wires. So you will just take a 3-wire servo cable like this, place it on channel number 1, and we are ready to go. Next, you need to be able to power it somehow. To do that, well, the best way to do it is just to put it on your multi-rotor, on your flight controller. So now this is a D-pinned D4R-II. I just took the pins off, and I also have my little jumper right there. I just used a little bit of solder. But basically it's the same exact thing as what I just showed you. The point I'm trying to make is you just want to make sure you have at least the power and ground wire on your flight controller. You can also have your telemetry wire and signal wire, but it's not needed to bind the receiver itself. Now some flight controllers can power the receiver through only the USB, but some flight controllers can't do that. In that case, you would have to plug in your LiPo battery to power the receiver. This specific flight controller can power the receiver through only a USB. So I will plug it in like that, and you see the blinking red light. That means it's getting power. But you actually don't want power right now. So let's just set that to the side, and now we have to set up the Taranis.
Welcome to OpenTX.
In your Taranis, you want to hit the menu button, go to your model, hit the page button once. You can scroll all the way down, or you could just scroll up, because that will bring you to the bottom of the page. For the D4R-II, we need this to be in the D8 mode, and also make sure you have channels 1 to 8 because it only has 8 channels. Now you just want to press the bind button, and it's going to chirp, and it's going to constantly chirp until we are done. Next, on your D4R-II, you will see a little button, and this might help. You'll see a little button, and that is your failsafe button. You want to hold that button in while applying power at the same time. So I will just set this up like this, get it ready to plug in, hold the button down, and then plug in the USB. There we go. Now we see a solid green light and a blinking red light. Once you see that, you can release the button and power it off. Go back to your Taranis, press enter to make it stop the chirping. Now you can just go all the way back. Leave it turned on. Now reapply power to your flight controller. And now we are getting a solid green light, if you can see that. If you're getting the solid green light, then that means you are completely done. It is now properly bound. If you are getting a solid green light and a solid red light, then that means that there is a conflict between the firmware of the receiver and transmitter itself. And I don't mean exactly like firmware version numbers. What I'm talking about is there is a
Telemetry lost.
like an international version, and there's also a EU version. So one is going to have one, and then the other has the other. You need both to have either the international or both have the EU versions, and that will solve your solid red and solid green light problem. And that does it for this one, guys. If you are here to see the Taranis playlist, then I will leave a link for you in the description below, and you can continue following that one. Thanks, I'll see you guys soon.